Silva, he had been calling out GSP for a while. We all heard that he was going to be in attendance at UFC 154, and everyone figured that would be so if George St. Pierre won, he could walk in the cage, challenge him, et cetera, et cetera. Dana White's still pretty adamant on the fact that Anderson and GSP will fight in May at Cowboy Stadium if George St. Pierre wins. But all of a sudden, Anderson, or at least Anderson's camp, is coming out saying he wants to stay on the shelf until late 2013. I can't picture this happening, especially after he took a fight on short notice at UFC 153 against Stephan Bonnar. Just really, really bizarre. I don't know why he's being so fickle about everything, whether it's the John Jones fight, first saying, no, I will fight him for nothing. And then him saying, I want half of the company if I fight him. And then him being like, no, I will fight him at catchweight. And now he's doing the same thing with George St. Pierre, saying, I want to fight George. And now saying, I know what to fight, George. I want to stay on the shelf. I don't know why he's being so fickle about everything. He can't make up his mind about shit. You know, my theory is just that his camp's kind of whispering in his ear. I can't understand why the baddest man on the planet is not being decisive about anything now. What are you guys' takes on all this fickleness coming from the Anderson Silva camp?
I think he's just coming towards the end of his career now. I mean, I suppose he thinks there's not many more fights out there for him. I don't know if he wants to take on the top people in different weights because, you know, does he want to risk losing the fight and then maybe losing a little bit of his, of his legacy of which he's built in the UFC? I think, a fight versus John Jones and a fight versus GSP, he's capable of obviously winning both of them, but there's also a possibility he could lose both of them, especially with them being the kind of guys that would take him down. But I don't read too much into what he's saying. I mean, when it's time for him to fight, he'll be ready to fight and he'll look as good as ever. I don't really read too much into it personally.
Yeah, I brought up this point on our podcast last night. At this point in Anderson's career, I think that if you go back and you look at his career in Zuffa, he hasn't taken any kind of real significant damage. I mean, he did get hit quite a bit with rabbit punches by Chael for, 4.5 rounds. But other than that, no one's really tagged him that hard. So as far as, his brain holding up, I think he's perfectly fine. I could see him going till he's 45, 46, 47 like Randy Couture did. The only question is, can his style hold up? Because he's all about speed and accuracy. And obviously those things fall off first. So we'll see what happens with that. He's a commodity at this point in his career. He's a business. The Anderson Silva business is massive with multiple sponsors out there. Yeah, he's probably got his own shoe line. I mean, he's talking about making a movie with Seagal. So he really is a business, and that's why he can kind of dictate, because if he chooses not to fight the opponents that the UFC gives him, they're probably going to appease him. They're not going to cut Anderson Silva. He's a huge, huge, huge pay-per-view draw. So at this point in his career, I think the fans like us are the ones that are going to suffer to have to, precious time that he has left. We have to wait for him to come back. And as a person, I understand his decision, but it really sucks for us, considering that he could be wasting valuable time.
I'm personally, I guess you would say, disgusted by this. It just pisses me off so bad, because here's what happened. After Anderson Silva fought Chael Sonnen this summer, he came out after the fight and said, you know what? I'm not fighting until 2013. This was after Weidman's big fight, and Weidman looking like a fucking killer out there. And here comes Anderson Silva saying, I'm not going to fight till 2013. He was already saying it. They were already talking about it. And then, when the chance for him to save a card, taking on the perennial top contender that Stephan Bonnar is, he jumps up and says, oh yeah, I'll take that fight at 205. Like, dude, are you kidding me? You're a fucking joke. Now you want to sit out until the end of 2013? You want to just sit out a year for no reason? Come on, dude. Like, fight Chris Weidman, fight Vitor Belfort, fight Bisping, fight someone in your weight class, fight someone relevant. Like, in a time when all of our fucking champions are getting injured and we have like 8 weight classes now and maybe 10 title fights a year, 10 legit title fights, you're the one champion who's healthy, who's probably the best ever, and you're going to fucking sit out for no reason? Fuck that.
All right, look, here's the real deal. Anderson Silva is going to fight as soon as the money is on the table. This whole claiming he's going to be on the shelf until the end of 2013, that is bullshit. It's just standard negotiation right there. That's basic negotiation 101 right there. He knows Uncle Dana wants him to fight GSP at some point in 2013. So what's he going to do? He's going to say, I don't want to fight in 2013. Why? Because he wants the money. The first offer on the table probably wasn't good enough. So, I mean, of course, if I were Silva, that's what I would do. Because at this point, it's not about defending the championship title anymore for him. It's about just making as much money as possible now, while he still can, before he gets out of there. Everybody knows the GSP's fight is going to happen. As long as GSP's knee doesn't explode on Saturday. And so basically that's all it is. It's just a negotiation tactic on Anderson's part. He's a smart guy, at least when it comes to this, because he's pretty damn good at ducking fights until one that he wants comes along. Of course, he couldn't duck Chael Sonnen, but he definitely held out until the money was as high as it was going to get. That stack was pretty fucking huge by the time it came around to him signing the paper.
Yeah, I see either two conspiracies going down. One, like the one Ramsey just broke down, he's sitting out waiting for Uncle Dana and the Zuffa brothers to come, and not Zuffa brothers, the Fertitta brothers come with him with a nice hefty payday. Please, 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 Mr. Anderson, fight GSP for us at this date. Or Uncle Dana came to him and told him to make this stuff up to get more interest brought into UFC 154, since, that really didn't sell out right away, and doesn't seem like there's a lot of interest with this being GSP's first fight back. So once it was announced that he was coming to challenge him, and then all of a sudden turn around, oh no, he's going to sit out. I think it's just to get more people interested in watching to see what Anderson Silva is going to do if GSP beats Condit. Those are my two conspiracies about it.
Definitely. Yeah, it's really kind of odd. Yeah, we don't know if he means it. We don't know if it's just a tactic to sort of get more money for his next fight. But Dana seems like he's pretty confident that Anderson Silva is going to fight GSP if GSP wins in May. And it usually seems like Dana tends to be right about stuff like that. And sticking to the welterweights before we get to our boneheads, Chris Weidman, like Patrick mentioned, kind of getting the shaft, but it's really funny. A couple roundtables ago, I suggested that while Anderson's doing his thing and light heavyweight and catch weight under middleweight to fight GSP, that there be a 4-man tourney for the interim